Welcome back, 8:52, Saturday, January the 18th. We're in the middle of our head-to-head this morning. Andy Williams, political commentator, Fiona Conor, who's come all the way from Yorkshire, managing director of Trust Electric Heating, so you know where to go if you need some heating. Join me this morning. Let's talk about this. Police forces and courts, this is in the Telegraph, are collecting less data on the ethnicity of criminals than at any time in the past 15 years. Apparently, this is because they are worried about being called racist. Senior Tory MPs claim the growing failure to collect the data amounts to an institutional cover-up. These are figures provided under Freedom of Information laws, shows that the proportion of offences, including child sexual offences, where no data on the ethnicity of convicted criminals recorded has been trebled in the past 15 years. It's gone from 11.6% up to 28.7%. They're being called data deserts. They are basically less likely to record the ethnicity of people convicted in those crimes. There is no other explanation, according to some people, than cultural sensitivity of police and other agencies. Knowing the data is crucial, isn't it?
Completely crucial. I mean, we collect data on everything. We collect data at work. We collect data when you're going through the NHS. We look for on every single piece of everything you do. Whatever you apply for is you have to put, you have to tick that box. So I think here it has to be done, and it'd be interesting to see where it isn't being done. Is it a certain part of the country, or is it like UK wide?
Andy. There's an important distinction to make here, which is, so I think, should we be collecting this data? Absolutely. And I don't understand why, 28% of crimes we're not recording this data. Why? Is it incompetence? Is it can't be bothered? Is it, who knows? I don't know. And
is it fears of being called racist?
Yeah, which it shouldn't be. But this is where I think we do need to make a distinction. Collecting data, yes. Yeah. Publishing it, absolutely not for me. I know there are a lot of people who say that
data on all sorts of things.
We do, but there are good reasons not to publish data on other things. And I think people who are calling for, every year let's have a league table of which ethnic group has committed the most crime in Britain, and then let's break that down by certain crimes. I really don't want to see that.
What's wrong with that?
Because some people would say radical transparency, brilliant, sunlight's the best disinfectant, but it is absolutely clear that that certain elements in society would use that as an excuse to go out and to not just say, but to do things that could cause real trouble, and that is my concern.
But let's just say, if one particular nationality, and I'm thinking back to notes that I had earlier in the week, let's say, I'm going to be careful, I won't name the country, but there is a particular country where you are more likely to see people who are breaking the law than in other countries. Don't we have a right as taxpayers to know that?
I think we do, but in another way, it's how we use the data and why we're collecting the data in the first place. I mean, we are a data-driven country, and when I collect data in my business, I'm using it for analysis to actually give me a clear idea of where I need to go. And I think we have to have a fine balance of this.
So you wouldn't publish either?
I think it's the way we publish. I think the way we publish things in this country has to be correct when you're dealing with race, especially.
I think it's sensitive data, and that's why you need to be careful of it. So when you say, David, I think taxpayers have a right to know. My response to you would be why? Why do taxpayers?
Because I'm paying for the police.
Yeah, but you could say that about anything, so I need to know everything.
I do need to know.
But you're not the. No, you don't. Why? And you're not. Why do you? Is my.
Because I'm a taxpayer.
You're not the police. So the police need the data because if they know that X nationality are more likely to commit armed robbery, they can adjust the way they operate to deal with that.
Data collection for the sake of data collection is hopeless. You need to have action on the back of the data collection.
Exactly.
So therefore, but this goes back to the immigration issue. This is what people are so exercised about, is there are legions of people coming into this country who abide by different principles to those which are cultural norms in this country.
So how would the public knowing that make a positive contribution? Because you say it's all about action on the back of having data. Yes. I don't want the public to be taking action on the back of this data. I want the police to be taking action.
Yeah, but by public actually having pressure on governments will react.
I think the public needs to know as a taxpayer, and I would want to know as a taxpayer, that the police are doing the job right. So if I'm asked, this is part of my role, that I have to collect this data, I want to know that you are collecting that data. How we use the data, that needs to be discussed.
Sadly, we're out of time. I just want to ask you very quickly, front page of the Times, Labour's tax plans trigger exodus of millionaires. Has Labour got this right?
I actually, as a business, 1% of 1% of our sort of like millionaires in the country give £75 billion to the economy. What I would be asking is, when they talk about that, what is the strategy if half of them go? What is the whole going to look like?
Yeah.
And that is what we need to
What
think
is
about.
the strategy? What do you think?
I don't think the strategy is clear at the moment, and I think we need to celebrate private business and successful people and wealthy people. They obviously have to pay their way. I think they do. I think they more than pay their way. The only thing I would say in relation to this story is that it's about 2024. Labour only came into government halfway through that year, and the budget only happened 62 days before the end of the year. So to say it's the budget that caused all these people to leave is not the case.
The most frightening thing is we still have to wait and see, don't we?
Well, what fun we have ahead.
Yeah. Thank you very much to both of you, to Andy Williams, political commentator, Fiona Conor, Managing Director of Trust Electric Heating. That was today's Head to Head.